turned up. Won't stay on? Okay. It's staying on now. 2 items only, plus the authorization for the caucus meeting. They're both notices of motion from Councillor Etherington. I want to say at the outset that we do not have a very detailed protocol as to what items should or could come forward to special council meetings. And I think actually this points out something that we should, if we can't be self-disciplined, and I don't say that about any particular councillor, it's not that, it could be me as well. But we will have to potentially change our protocol so that the intent for special council is to deal with only those urgent items and not things that could be left for the regular council meeting. Occasionally we get off the rails. I think for both of these items, they could have waited until next week to the regular council meeting. However, since our protocol wasn't specific, obviously they were allowed for today. So, Councillor Etherington, could you bring the first item forward? That's Victoria Park Statue Project. I think everyone has it in front of them. Councillor Galloway Seelock.
Sorry, I'm just wondering. You know, we're hours behind at this point, and I know what you just said, Mr. Mayor, and I respect that Councillor Etherington's given notice of motion, and I don't like continually doing this. But is there really any urgency to either of these matters that they can be deferred until March 17th instead of even getting into any debate or, to a committee meeting? I just want to throw that out there before we start to even get into it or debate it, because we're all over the place today. So I'm not opposed, but I think there's going to be debate on both of them. So
there may.
Councillor Etherington, you wish to speak to that point?
Yeah, I would say that this council refused because there was a lack of notice of motion on the last occasion. This is notice of motion, and I'd like both of them to go ahead. It's too bad about the timing. I think in relation to the timing, we should do a better job of what we put on our agendas.
Well, that's not very fair. I'll have to jump in there because the chairs of the committee, myself and staff, spend a lot of time trying to work with the agenda. It was not anticipated that there would be 15 delegations today, because when the information was available, and the chairs can back this up, there was no indication that that was going to be the case. And so we tried to establish those times as with the information we have at the time. Recognize that we're now doing this, again, days earlier than we were before in setting the agenda time. So this is about a week and a half ago when we were setting the agenda. So that can be criticized, but I think you have to understand the information that people have at that point in time. So before you get into this issue, I want to understand whether or not there is a consensus around the council horseshoe to deal with these 2 matters this evening, or do you wish to have them deferred?
I've already spoken that.
One person has spoken. I'm going to deal with that item first, because that a point of order has been raised on that matter. Speaking to that part only, I have Councillor Singh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I had the same issue. I'm wondering why this is having to come so quickly. Obviously, my full intent is to listen to the will of what the survey has come back, but this council had set out a certain procedure, as a timeline, and I was guessing that a report would be coming back. Normally, I think it was scheduled for March 17th. So my question is, unless there's an urgency because there's staff time that's going to be dedicated to this, and that's Councillor Etherington's intent to save that cost, then there's no need to do this now. We can wait till the 17th. So that would be my only issue, that there is no cost that would lead up to the 17th. If they're not, I fully support deferring this till normal laid out guideline.
Mr. Mayor,
first of all, it wouldn't be the 17th. It would be next week, which is March the 3rd. Why? No, this is council was dealing. This was to come back to council.
Okay, all right. I was going by
That
it.
is clear. And the last time we dealt with the issue of the statues was that there was to be no further work by staff on this until council dealt with it. And of course, we said no to the study, and so therefore it was going to come back with any other further notice.
With
and
that
council
clarified
gave
point,
that.
so my response would be that I absolutely would support deferring this to normal council meeting.
Councillor Gazzola.
Yeah, I would support Councillor Galloway-Seelock's point of order. I was prepared to deal with this first one on March the 17th. I see no urgency to deal with it today.
March the 17th was never in it.
Well, I thought that's when it was going to come back for discussion.
That's correct. I'm going to have to give some additional information there. The only way that it was going to come back on March the 17th or March the 24th was if it had additional information. The additional information was going to come from the study and from the detailed design, but we said no to the detailed design, so therefore there was no further information to come back until council gave further direction. That's why, in terms of dealing with it earlier than March 17th, is in order. But it's just a matter of whether or not it's at a special council meeting or next week at the March 3rd meeting. That's the only thing we should be discussing.
All right, let me just finish. I see no urgency to deal with this tonight. I think these are both topics where a lot of our public have weighed in on and perhaps would like to have another kick at the cat. I'm not sure that how many of our public knew that these were going to be discussed today. So I believe they should be deferred to deal with our spirit of public engagement. And there's no, they're not earth-shattering decisions that we have to make before the end of February.
Okay, are there any other speakers other than Councillor Etherington? Okay, Councillor Etherington.
Mr. Mayor, I was told to bring these two issues to this meeting.
By whom? Not by me.
Well, that was sure the understanding I had. This is further stalling of these two issues. I'm going to be away on the 17th. Not that it's coming up on the 17th.
We're not dealing with it on March the 17th.
I heard
March
you
the 3rd.
twice. But, the expectation, and as far as Councillor Gazzola is concerned, I mean, it's been in the paper, it's been on the news media. People know that it's coming up this evening. So I don't agree that residents out there do not know. I think both of the issues are touchy issues, and I don't appreciate the move to further defer this to the next council meeting, especially after my understanding was that it be brought up tonight. So I would still want it to go ahead this evening.
Councillor Bradanovich, and then I will, if there is a deferral, we will deal with them. Failing that, we will deal with the items. Councillor Bradanovich.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I understand where Councillor Etherington is coming from, but I think several of our colleagues have indicated there's nothing pressing here that's saying that we can't deal with this issue next Monday. Councillor Etherington is going to be here next Monday. If the motion was to be the 17th, I wouldn't support it. But I think we know we're several hours behind already. We know that we have had to do this kind of thing before when it's happened, and when something isn't pressing, I would urge Councillor Etherington to be amenable to that. It's still going to deal with the issue. You're still going to get the same result. Nothing's going to change. But I think we're going to act in a way that's respectful and fair to the other committees that are going to start later on tonight.
Okay, they are on the Councillor Etherington. You haven't formally moved them yet, so it's you can move them individually, and we can defer them. There seems to be a move to defer, or you can withdraw them and give notice for March the 3rd.
I would move them, Mr. Mayor, and
Okay. So there's it's moved by Councillor Etherington that the the resolution related to the statues be as printed. I'm not going to get in the detail for the moment. Is there a seconder for that? Okay, it's seconded. Is there a deferral? Councillor Galloway Seelock is deferring to March the 3rd, correct?
Yeah, March 3rd.
Seconder for the deferral, Councillor Fernandez. As to time only, those in favor of the deferral? Opposed? The motion is carried. Councillor Etherington, the flag policy. Do you wish to bring that one forward?
Yeah, it's obviously a total waste of time, but I would particularly like to bring that one forward and have a recorded vote on who refuses to deal with it.
Is there a motion for deferral? Is there a seconder for the flag issue? Councillor Fernandez. Is there a motion to defer? Councillor Galloway Seelock. Seconded. Councillor Ioannidis. March the 3rd, next Monday. A recorded vote has been called for on the deferral of the flag policy resolution. The motion for deferral carries. And those in favor, stand. Opposed? The motion carries. Someone prepared to move the in-camera session? For Councillor Fernandez, seconded by Councillor Davey. Those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Bylaws for 3 readings, moved by Councillor Ioannidis, seconded by Councillor Galloway Seelock. Those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you.